Peace and blessings, family. We appreciate you all for joining us today here on the Next Generation platform, a part of the Seventh Region Coalition. I'd like to formally start out by saying, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah and that Muhammad is his messenger. And we would like to extend a greeting of Assalamu alaikum, meaning peace be unto you in the Arabic language. I thank you all for joining us. Today's topic, we are going to be touching on the small steps that we can actually make towards separating from this oppressive system that we've been under. And today, to help me expound on these topics, we have Brother Aiden X with us today. I thank you for joining us, dear brother. And Mark Muhammad, is actually in the chat room right now. Let me add him to the stream. How you doing, dear brother?
Assalamu alaikum, brother. How you doing?
Wa alaikum salam, my brother. I'm fine by the grace and mercy of Almighty God, man. I'm liking the clarity of everything coming out right now, man. I thank y'all for taking this bit of time out of your day, man, to spread some knowledge to this next generation, man. I like to ask Brother Aiden first, brother. If you want to tell the people anything about yourself, just go ahead and give a short introduction if you'd like to.
Yes, sir, in the name of Allah, the Beneficent, the Most Merciful, I bear witness that there is no God but Allah, and I bear witness that Muhammad is his messenger. I just want to deeply extend my thanks for you allowing me to come on this beautiful platform. I feel honored. My name is Brother Aiden X. I'm 19 years young, and I'm just excited to be here and really learn from my brother on here. My brother's on here, so thank you.
Yes, sir. No problem, dear brother. Thank you for being available and willing to do this. Brother Mark, you want to give a short opening to who you are, dear brother?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. My name is Brother Mark Muhammad. I'm based out of Louisville, Kentucky. I'm an entrepreneur, business owner, father, brother, Muslim, striving brother. And I'm just, here just to help delegate this delegate type of topic here and give a big shout out to my brother Anthony Muhammad down there in Florida. Thank you for inviting me once again. Let's make this a great time once again.
Most definitely, dear brothers, man. I thank you all, man. It's a blessing to have some people out that could come on here, man, and as a collective, we can pick each other's brains and get that truth and three different perspectives on the truth out to the people. And so today, as I stated in the beginning, our topic will be, those small steps toward the opportunities towards separating from this oppressive system. And we want you all to please hit that share button twice. We want you to hit that so that anybody that, if you've been through anything, seeing young people do detrimental things or seeing a declining lifestyle in our community, we want you to take that spirit and hit the like button and share this so that it can go out to as many people as possible. And so today, our curriculum will look like the things that we're going to be touching on will be how we can separate mentally, how we can separate physically, educationally, culturally, and financially. And for our panelists, whatever comes to your mind through your experience or through the knowledge that you have acquired, we want you to just expound on whatever God puts on your mind today. And so to start it off, I want to talk about the mental aspect, because if we don't touch on the personal mentality of everybody who is looking to be involved, then it will never work out as a collective. And so does anybody, when we talk about something to separate from mentally of this world, does anything come to your mind, dear brothers, that y'all would like to start off and making a point about separating our mentality? Oh, you muted, big brother.
There we go. All right.
There we go. Yes, sir.
I was just testing the button to see if it worked. but yes, sir. Was that mentality or was that mentally you was talking about?
Well, mentally, and the mentality of what we need to mentally separate from it. It all ties into the same thing. So if that's what you like to expound on, I'd say it's one and the same.
Okay, perfect then. Well, just from the mental aspect, a lot of us have been told. Well, when I was in elementary school, we was always told about this American dream. how
Wow.
how that is the way to live and the way to be and what to strive for.
Come on.
But as you get older and you start to go into what we call reality of that American dream, first off, an American by definition, this may be an older definition, but it was in there until they changed it. That an American is someone that normally is excluded by red to brownish skin, long prominent black hair, and high prominent cheekbones.
That's right.
You know, that once was a definition about 10 or 12 years ago. Then it got changed.
That's right.
Then of course, you know, that dream obviously excludes us, so it has to be a white man's dream.
Yes,
And
sir.
if you look at what they want to do, and I'm talking about those that know, that want to do is to keep the vast majority in debt. And if you have debt, it's obviously you're blind to the fact that you're in debt because you always remain in that. And that's another form of slavery.
That's right.
Financial slavery at that. So in the masses, well, the Caucasian masses would know that you will still have a control over the Negroes in their language.
Yes.
And that's their dream,
Mm.
is to keep the truth away and to keep the lie appearing as truth. But in order to change that mental aspect or that mentality aspect, most definitely we have to go to the root of all things and discover what's good and what's bad. So if you look at the plant life, you got some plants that are good plants and some plants that are bad plants, but they all have roots and stem from somewhere.
Yes, sir.
See what I'm saying? So the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, study the knowledge of self.
That's
And
right.
he also said that the answer to all of your problems are in a book somewhere. We just have to go and find that book and discover what has been hidden from us or taken from us and
Yes.
apply it to ourselves. And therefore, time will set in and mentality will be changed.
Come on now. Yes, sir. Beautiful answer there, brother. Brother Aiden, did you if you do want to expound, right? At any time, brothers, if y'all throw up a little this right here, I'll know how to advance onto it. So at any time, if you brothers want to expound on that, and just what came to my mind from what the brother was saying, you know, our people have been completely stripped of the knowledge of who we are. And from that, once you are completely stripped of who you are, then you are a blank canvas. And anybody writing on you, which I would call their influence, the writing on the mentality of your mind and putting a new form of life into you, whatever is influencing you, it will be successful because you have no other reference point of your original self. And just to, you know, would you like to add something to this topic, Brother Aiden? Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Like he was bringing up in school, me personally, I was an all F student, you know, so I was coming from their influence and I wasn't really excelling in what was considered, you know, what was considered education. And me personally, when I think of the mental aspect, like he said, you know, what I was taught in school, I wasn't taught anything positive about the black man and black woman. I was taught about Honest Abe and how he never told a lie. I was told about, you know, George Washington and all the battles that he won, you know. And then when it came to black history, when it came to me seeing myself, I just saw a slave. I just saw a little black boy at a colored water fountain, you know, in school. And this is as young as kindergarten, first grade, you know, as soon as I get in there.
That's right.
So I think it was Brother Nuri Muhammad that said, you know, we all go to school and we have our heads down and, you know, this is black and white. We have our heads down and we're meek and we're shy. And then by the time school finishes, not only is the black man's head still down, his pants is down too.
Come on now.
Really, you can see that school and the education of this world is not built for the black man and woman. It's built to make slaves out of the black man and woman. It's built to make people to feed off of and work for this system and keep this system intact. So really separating mentally, like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, is we need to get a thorough knowledge of self.
That's right.
And I believe that Honorable Elijah Muhammad also said, "Whoever knows himself knows God." So we can't get to where we want to get spiritually if we can't even first get to it mentally, knowing who we are.
Mhm.
Beautiful point, dear brother. Yes.
Mhm.
And the other thing I have on my list here for the mental aspect is the envy that we have in our community, right? And how, back in the day, we were programmed to live in that type of environment. Everything was basically hate for somebody else. That's what we are birthed into. Hate for ourselves. And when we turn on that television, we can see that we are not favored. And so, in wanting to be favored, in this world of white supremacy, we act envious toward our brothers and sisters who may have a gift that we don't have that make them look successful in this world. And I think that the lack of love of ourselves is the cause of this envy, because if you don't value what's in yourself, you'll hate on what's in somebody else. And so when it comes to envy in our community, do y'all have anything coming to your minds about what y'all learned that you can expound on, just pertaining to envy?
Yes, sir, I got one.
Yes.
A lot of times people just envy simply just because they don't have,
That's right.
or they just don't know how to get.
Come on.
Then kind of looking at, like, listen to what you just said, that a lot of people think that how do you achieve those things is that you just have to go and take it from them.
Mhm.
But little do they know, all you have to do is just become a student in that category, and
Come
you
on.
will easily achieve exactly the same thing that they have or more.
Yes.
When I was growing up, I had a friend across the street, and I go over his house every single day. We had the same game system, PlayStation 2, all that stuff, right? And I always borrowed games from him. Like, to me, I was over his house literally every single day, 90% of the week. And so it was nothing. But every time I borrowed a game and my mom found out, she always went to the store and bought the game for me,
Mm.
you know. And I was like, "Ma, like, you ain't got to keep doing that."
Yes.
And she was just telling me, you if you want it, you can get it. Just ask me. You don't have to
Mm.
borrow things, and next thing you know, they'll start accusing you and all these other little things. And I was so
Yes.
young, I didn't know.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? I didn't know. I'm 8, 9, 10 years old. I didn't know that
That's right.
she was setting up
Man,
to avoid envy inside of me,
come
and
on.
for me wanting to probably like take the game from
Mm.
them.
Man, she was weeding out, man. She
We
weeded
didn't
it
have
right out of you.
it. Yeah, we didn't have it,
There.
and that's why I borrowed it. And they got him, my friend Nick across the street. They got him whatever he asked for.
Oh man. And I thank you for sharing that beautiful example, man, of how we can catch that within our children and have them sort of veer off the path in which they will experience envy, and make them aware that envy is actually a thing, what it brings, and how we can prevent it, to give it a full cycle of understanding. And from our envious actions, usually results to violence. And so we've seen our former slave masters, all they do is resort to violence. And so we possibly can't know how to love one another if we don't have the knowledge itself. And resorting to violence is something that happens, to our mental, right? And even when we're in our relationships, the people that we say we love, since we don't have a proper understanding of love, how do we say we love somebody and it results to violence over time? And I think that means that we had the wrong foundation under which that love was built. And if y'all have anything on your mind, Brother Aiden, results in the violence in our community, you go ahead and expound there, brother.
Yes, sir. One thing that
Brother Aiden, if you
Can you
have a mixer, do you have a reverb up on your mic?
no, sir.
Okay.
Does it sound that way?
He's giving a little bit of reverb.
Let me fix it.
Yes, sir.
Brother been rapping, he been practicing, getting the sound right.
What about now?
Okay, there we go. There we
Yeah.
go. Yes, sir. Praise be to Allah. All right, let's continue, big brother.
Yes, sir. Yeah, I had my knobs messed up.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been away for. I just literally got back, so I
That's all
apologize.
right, man. It sounded harmonic, so it's all good, big brother.
Yes, sir. One thing that comes to my mind when I hear of envy, ending up in violence is, we hear often now with the black youth, he's my op, that nigga's my op.
Wow.
And one thing that we have, we will call one another an op, meaning opposition. But how come Dylan Roof, we don't call that our op? Or how come we don't call the white boy that shot up the supermarket, filled with black people and literally apologize when he shot a white person? How come we don't call that our op? Because it's that envy that we have for one another. I think it was Willie Lynch. He outnumbered a number of differences. He wrote down a number of differences, and he put the dark against the light, and the strong against the weak, and the tall against the short. And one thing, me growing up around black people, one thing I used to always hear is because I'm mixed, so they said you have good hair. Just because my hair is more closer to straight or closer to curly, they say, oh, you got good hair. And often, that's how they get into this whole battle of, trying to show, trying to show what real beauty is. They try to measure beauty by the standard of whiteness. It's not the standard of blackness, it's the standard of whiteness. Really, it's really the slave master that really put us into this game of really measuring ourselves against the standard that's not even the standard of God, but it's really the standard of the devil.
Come on. Beautifully put, dear brother. Brother Mark, is your screen is just okay? There we go. Praise be to Allah.
Yeah, I'm telling everybody tune in.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about, brother. We appreciate you taking the time to do that. And so another thing that I feel that we mentally have to separate ourselves from is being money driven. Because what we see in our community is that everybody is money driven, but not everybody has the knowledge to be able to sustain the money that they want. Not everybody knows how to invest their money to be able to make more. And even when we get it, we don't even know how to spend it in the right way to where it benefits our lives. And so what comes to you all's mind when we talk about being money driven that can be very detrimental to our actions in our community?
Brother Aiden, you got it. You got all the money, brother. Go ahead.
No, sir. I'm striving for that.
Yes, sir.
But
go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. One thing that we need to do is we got to stop, as the minister said, stop being a whore for money.
That's right.
Money is a tool, but it's a terrible servant. I mean, it's a terrible master, really, because it makes us the servant of it. Yes. It's okay. I know Brother Nuri Muhammad said it's okay to chase the dollar, but don't put the dollar before Allah. So what we need to do first is we got to have a God-centered mindset. We can't have a money-centered mindset, because the money should be a tool that we can use to help our people out. So we can't just be selling each other out for money, doing crazy things on the internet for money. We really have to first we got to be vertically upright, as the minister said before, horizontally. So we got to chase the morals. And once we chase the morals, the money will come. And that's often where our people don't understand that, especially young black men. It's chase the bag, get the bag. But really, you are the bag. You really are the value that you can attract.
Come on. Beautifully said, brother Aiden. And I like to say, right, us being money driven opens up a big field for our enemy to use us. Because when you're money driven, you could put out detrimental depictions on the TV, and guess what? I'm gonna pay a black person to do it. They gonna play this role. I got enough money to make them do it. Or you give them a record deal. You tell them, we don't want to hear no more of the God stuff in there. We don't want to really hear no more positivity. But we'll give you $500,000 right now, and we need some trap music. It's an enticing thing. It's like giving them a leeway to be able to use us as devils. So I think that being money driven can be beneficial, but to, like you said, to put it before the moral standpoint and the knowledge in which you can keep that money and allow it to grow, it becomes detrimental, because then we start to fight one another once we see that there's not enough money for all of us in our own community. And so, if anybody, if we've, got our opinions out about that, I like to move on to something similar, which is waiting for government assistance. And that's just one of the things I feel we need to separate from mentally, is not looking toward the government to solve our problems, but looking toward our own community and ourselves. Do you guys have any thoughts that come to you when thinking about our people sort of waiting on the government to solve the problems in our community?
Yes, sir, I have one. As far as with waiting for the government to solve all of our problems, I heard. Well, first things first, we've been waiting long enough, and nothing has changed.
That's
and
right.
I believe most of the communities think that same thought as well.
That's right.
I heard in the lecture, I think it was called Divorce Court with America.
Okay.
That's the name of it, by Brother Nuri Muhammad. And he was saying, it's a little snippet I want to quote in there. He was saying that he said that we normally put ourselves in these horrible conditions.
That's right.
Because we've been free for so long, physically free for so long, for close to 100 years, or maybe about 70 or so. As far as with us having the resources to go out and achieve those particular things, that was really the hindrance. However, what hindered us was that we had our mind focused on other material things instead of having be into the concept and the process of things. We wanted the instant gratification, the end result, instead of falling in love with the process.
Come on.
And as Brother Aiden was saying on his previous response, was that on the moral aspect, inside of the concept and the process is morals, because it's principles and strategies and maneuvers and tactics that have to be followed through in order to get to the end result.
Yes.
So I think a lot of that, it's not just the government assistance that people are really waiting on. It's really just that concept and that process being presented properly, so they can understand it and follow the strategic strategies and move out on it.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, indeed, dear brother Aiden.
Yes, sir. I feel like but with the government assistance that our people often look for, I believe it comes from this mindset that we got through slavery, which is looking at white people really as adult figures over us.
That's right.
Through our slavery and through racism, they called us boy.
Come on.
And often they really put us in that type of space. They really put us in that position of being a boy, because think about it. We look for white people to clothe us, to bathe us, to house us, to make laws for us, to take care of our babies. You have women that they go to the court and tell the white man how much a black man needs to pay her, and say, take care of my babies. He needs to take care of my babies. And the white man, he kind of stands over like a parent figure,
That's right.
Dealing within the slaves. And that's often what we need to stop looking at, is looking for the government to do right by us.
Come on.
It's like, if anybody watching this, if you have a sister or you have a mother, or you have a woman in your family and she was being abused by her boyfriend, not for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, but 400 years. And would you tell her to go outside his door and say, no justice, no peace?
Come on.
Or would you tell her to separate? And that's often where we fail to want to separate. We just keep asking for more. And the slave master, as he gets more developed, of course he's gonna give us concessions, but it's never gonna be true change. True change comes from our own hands. I think it was the Honorable Elijah Muhammad that said, and I'm paraphrasing, but the best helping hand is at the end of our own wrist. So once we do for self and build for self, we won't have to deal with these high gas prices. Won't have to deal with going to the grocery store and there's not any food,
That's
for our babies or food for our children. We won't
yes.
have to deal with these forced, vaccinations.
Come
You won't
on.
have to deal with all of these ills that we deal with, the police brutality, all of these things. If we just did for self and build for self and stop
Mhm.
looking for the slave master to do right for us when we've been freed for I don't know how many years. They said we're
Come on.
free. Juneteenth just passed. So
That's
that's what we need to do.
Come on. And I know y'all probably seen the example of the donkey being tied to the wooden post on a farm, right? And you take that, you untie him from that post, and he don't realize that he's even free, nor he has the ability to do for himself and go forth on his own. And we're at that point as a people. We really are at that point to where brothers like you all, me, we're trying to knock on the heads of our people and shout in their ear that it's time to wake up, and that God has allowed that rope. He's actually cut the rope from you and given you a new knowledge to be able to go forth on your land and to produce what you will within your own nature. And so, I thank you all for those beautiful answers y'all gave toward that. And just through this, just the whole mental aspect of separation, it's obvious that we need our own mental health institutions. But in particular for Black people, we need mental health institutions that realize the effect and impact that white supremacy has had on our mind. Because you can, you can take a usual sickness or mental illness from this world, and all they do is revert you back to the mindset of our former slave masters. And I don't think that's even beneficial process for somebody with mental issues. And so, anybody who's watching, the mental aspects that our people that we've discussed today is that, we immerse ourselves in the idea of white supremacy. We are envious, at times resort to violence out of our lack of understanding and intelligence. Being money driven can lead you into, it can be a positive and a negative behind it if you don't have the right mentality. And we surely shouldn't be waiting on this wicked government, as Brother Aiden expounded on, to help us after 400 years of proving that they really don't care about our well-being. And so I'm excited to finish up that mental aspect and move on to how we can physically separate from the world of our open oppressors. And to start it off, let's talk about, what they influence us to do with our eating habits, right? And what we've been taught under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, and what can be beneficial. Any brother that would like to carry that on, please do so.
Yes, sir. As far as being like just beneficial, as far as what was your exact question? I'm sorry.
So really, how we were being taught to eat by our open oppressors, compared to the difference in how we should eat, right? And what aspects we should separate from this usual health diet that they give us, and what they say is okay to eat, and what we can give to people as a small step towards separating from that physical aspect of what our open oppressors really do.
Oh, okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, if you look inside the book, it's called the Willie Lynch syndrome. It was showing you, and there's a part in there where he talks about it says you feed the Negro livestock, dead animal flesh, corn, and I think there was something else. He said this would keep them fat and lazy all day.
Wow.
Just like other beasts.
Yes, sir.
So you got the food of a beast, food that's for a beast.
That's right.
And there's food for humans. So if you look at the history of the Caucasian, that's what their diet subsists us for 2,000 plus years. Was
sir.
The food of the beast. Livestock, tree bark, insects, beetles, manure, all that stuff.
Yes, sir. Come on now. That's right.
So, just to fast forward, just to kind of get through the question, with the answer of the question, that's what they ate. So inside their mind, when they met us, we had style,
Come on.
we had seasoning.
That's right.
They said, well, look, let's go ahead and take control of the Negro and combine the two.
Mm.
So now what I like to call it styled savagery.
Wow.
Because you got hot dogs that's made out of 3 different animals.
Come on.
Or a 6 by 1 inch, I guess, a piece of meat wrapped in
Come
plastic.
on.
I guess it's me. I don't know what it is. It's
That's
just
right.
wrapped in plastic with artificial flavoring on it. You know what I'm saying?
Yes,
so you know that you got, you know, eating dead alligators, frog legs,
That's
lobsters,
right.
shrimp,
man.
You know, French fry mania.
Come on now.
White casket,
yes,
McDevil, the whole 9.
That's right.
The whole 9.
That's
but
right.
it's evil made fair seeming. It's very appealing to us.
Yes, sir.
So inside How to Eat to Live, it says that this world has become a very commercialized world. Everything seems fun to do.
That's right.
In the book How to Eat to Live, which is from God in person, Master Father Muhammad, written by the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And also inside that book, it says that you will begin to dig up your own graveyard with your own teeth. However, the alternative, if you want to be truly free, you have to first truly free your diet, which will eventually free your mind further. After you free your mind first, but the diet will free it further.
That's right.
Then you start going into manhood, godhood, and whatever type of hood you want to be a part of.
Come on now.
So, you know, that's the alternatives, man. Is just realizing what's going on or what has happened.
That's right.
Then take an initial stake in your own decision and just make that ultimate decision, which will change your life forever.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And, you know, shoot, they tell us to eat, you know, 3 meals a day. Man, I wonder why they would tell us to do that, knowing, you know, the actual biology of our bodies. And knowing that eating 1 meal a day does prolong our life. Brother Aiden, you had something you wanted to add to the topic?
Yes, sir. I just wanted to add that I think often what we forget about is that when what we're eating, we also are taking upon the nature. We're also eating the nature of the thing that we're eating.
That's right.
We don't realize the mental and the spiritual aspect of what we're eating. We just look at it as, you know, the calories and the protein and the calcium, but really you're eating the spiritual and the mental aspect of that, which you are taking in.
That's
right. How can, you know, the purpose of life and the purpose of Islam is peace. How can you be a peaceful person eating a sloppy Joe?
Come on.
You know, this is a God. This is a righteous black man and woman, and you're putting into your body a thing called a hot dog. You know, you putting in you know, the white man will eat anything. That's what we often we fall into that same activity of thinking that we apply to that also. The white man will eat, man. I've been in school, man. You see them with the cricket lollipops and the roach lollipops, and man, they'll eat anything. You go on the food channel, you'll see they'll eat anything. Chocolate covered ants.
That's right.
You know? But that's not necessarily what we should be involved in if we want to be like Brother Mark said, as gods, you know, graduating into godhood. Because you are taking upon the spiritual and the mental on what you're eating. If you're eating pork, you got to realize what the pig is. It's lazy. It eats its young. The pig involves itself in homosexual behavior.
It does.
You know, we have to look into that, and we got to put what's best for in this temple. Really, this is God's temple. No church, no mosque is more sacred than what you're standing in right now.
Yes, sir. Man, beautifully put, Brother Aiden. And you know, so that just means that we have to expound on the point that you made, is get better at our proper animal husbandry, which is the proper you know, taking of the life of an animal for consumption. You know, you have to put it in the right mental state so that you get what you actually are looking to get out of that animal there. And as we are taught under the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, it's most beneficial to eat 1 meal a day, because your stomach is like that engine that you need to keep running. And if you use that engine for long enough, eventually it'll wear out on you. And so that's just one way that we can start to separate physically from our open oppressors, is eating the right and proper foods. The second topic, and for anybody that's here watching now, we want to thank you for joining us. And we are actually expounding now on the physical aspects of how we can start to separate from this system. And for the next point, I'd like for us to go in and talk about the unnecessary medications that we are taking from our open enemy. Rather than, well, let me actually compare it to that first point in saying that they teach us to eat 3 meals a day because they know that it will cause physical health problems.
Mhm.
And with those physical health problems come medications, which they need for us to do to be able to fuel these pharmaceutical outlets. And so, is there anything that comes to your mind when thinking of, unnecessary medications and regimens that our open oppressors have fed to us?
Well, yes, sir. A lot of that. My mother's a nurse practitioner.
Yes, sir.
I seen her take multiple pills. Until she eventually realized what was going on.
Yes.
A lot of that really just stems from not really having a self-awareness
That's right.
of what you can do and what you're capable of.
Mm-hmm.
And the other side of it is really just like self-esteem.
That's
How
right.
you feel about yourself, what you think about yourself.
Come on.
If you have those two in check, you may not be the smartest one.
Mm-hmm.
I heard Floyd Mayweather say this before. I may not be the sharpest knife in the drawer, but I'm still a knife and I'm in the drawer.
I like that.
You may not have it all the way together on the biology and chemistry and all that.
No.
But if you got a pretty good self-esteem and self-awareness, you're gonna know when someone's trying to hustle you.
That's right.
To get you some that refill and them prescriptions and them side effects and all that.
Man.
But it's as far as all of that, man, the prescription, the pharmaceutical industry, all that is really like how Satan likes to move.
That's right.
They create the problem, then they pose as they have the cure.
That's right.
But in truth, listen to how I said they pose like if they have the cure.
Come on. That's right.
Which means they actually have the real cure, or they know the real cure, but they have something that's like the real cure.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Temporary.
But at the end of the day, it's all about money.
That's right.
They want to get you sick from birth. Then they know 10, 12 years down the line of time, you're going to get sick. So you got to come to us. Now we're going to charge your insurance.
Come on now.
Now we're going to give you a pill to take that we tell you it costs $40,000 a refill, but it really only costs us about 25 cents to make per pill.
Man.
So that's the numbers game.
Man.
Oh, and by the way, I sell insurance with Medicare clients. They tell me this stuff all the time. How many prescriptions they take. That's how I know all this stuff.
Yes, sir.
So they come and they do all that. Then you go get a refill. So the insurance get paid. The doctors actually get a kickback from each refill of the prescriptions that you get. So that's why they're so quick to give you a refill and not really dissect the problem that's really going on.
Come on.
And we ain't even into vaccines yet. That's a whole nother conversation.
Yes, sir.
So with that, then you times that by like probably about 2 or 3 billion. So just imagine a day, let's say $10 times, let's just say 3 billion. In one day, you done made $30 billion.
Oh my goodness. Man.
And that's not even the whole population.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? And it just keeps going over and over and over. I said this last time, or I might have said it with Brother Aiden, that the treatment for cancer is a $20 million a year industry.
Wow.
I may have that number wrong. It's either 20 million or 2 billion, one of those two.
Okay.
Every year.
Yes. So well, we know it's a lot of money going toward regimens that don't work for us, man. And it's such a trick of schemes and lies that lead us up to that point. and it's all led. And like you said, like in our early years, they make sure that we'll acquire these type of illnesses, and then they act like they have the solution. Brother Aiden.
Yes, sir. It personally, I've dealt with this because growing up, I dealt with being diagnosed with asthma, and I was actually hospitalized 3 times for it. And it was an extreme case to literally, if I wasn't in the hospital, I would have died.
Wow.
So, but when around my around my sophomore year, I had came across How to Eat to Live, and I began following How to Eat to Live.
Wow.
When I first had it, definitely more religiously than I do now, which I'm striving.
Yes,
But
sir.
as soon as I followed How to Eat to Live, 1 meal a day, I haven't had to take any asthmatic medicine since. I haven't been to the hospital since. I haven't had near-death experiences since. I run, I exercise, I get some sun, I eat navy bean soup, and I got away from the meat. I don't eat meat like that anymore.
Yes, sir.
And really, those are natural cures, but if you can't sell that, you can't market that.
That's right.
The enemy can't market going outside and exercising. He wants to give you, like you said, a temporary fix.
That's right.
So with me, I was like, wow, I wish I knew this my whole life, because my dad, he spent so much money on treatments that these devils was telling me, oh, I just need to be switched on a heavier dose. I just need to be switched on this Symbicort. I need to get on this and get on that. But really, it was just restricting your diet, getting a better and cleaner diet, and really being more active is really the cure to almost anything.
That's right. Yes, sir, man. I thank y'all for giving y'all perspectives and from y'all experience pertaining to, man, these unnecessary medications that they feed us. And another point that ties into a mental aspect.
Brother Anthony.
Yes, sir.
I just wanted to add on to that. One day I happened to go into my mother's purse one time, and I was counting, and she had 9 medications in there.
Wow.
And I'm just like, and my mom little, she 5'2", she tiny. I'm like, what do you like? What can possibly be wrong with you to take all of these things? And you supposed to be the healer.
Come on. Yes, sir.
And that just showed right there that even inside that whole medical system, the treatment is inside the knowledge. The treatment is really inside of the previous subject, which is the food that we just had. Just to
right. Yes, sir.
And once my mother got in tune with that, she eventually weaned herself off of those medications and realized that she didn't even really need it.
Awesome.
Because I just how Brother Aiden said, his father said, I heard it multiple times. I need to get a stronger dose. I need to get this. I need to get that. And I used to kind of like just need to just eat some broccoli, some greens, et cetera, boost your iron, boost your copper, boost your magnesium, And I don't know what happened. Just one day she just got it.
Oh man, praise.
I don't know if she had a near to death experience and just something. I don't know.
Yes, sir.
But yes, sir. Praise be to Allah.
Man, thank you for sharing that beautiful story with us, dear brother. And so a mental aspect of the physical, right, is what America tries to influence us is okay. And obviously they'll make you feel comfortable in any skin you're in. I think that's absolutely amazing. But I think that without putting a realistic view of the consequences of, how big we decide to get in our lives, or when we decide to make a change in exercise. And I think that even the mentality of feeling comfortable in your skin is that you should actually feel comfortable. You should be able to get up, go walk down and run down the street. That's a comfortable lifestyle, So I think we need to take the words that we use and define them in a better manner when we're trying to comfort somebody for their health situation, and letting them know that we love them personally, and everybody else may love you, but you are being detrimental towards yourself. And I could let you know that. And I think sometimes that we try to avoid the realism behind what we can say to somebody to help save their life. in order to make them feel comfortable. And so I think that change over comfort is a much better process to take in separating from our enemy, because they've made us feel as comfortable as we possibly could with however we decide to act in this world. And, it's really up to us to be able to explain to our people that really being big is not healthy, but we can't, we not dare disrespect you or talk down on you for being that. We just want to influence you to eat better, exercise a little more, and get more out of the life that you've been given. And so another physical aspect that we can do to help separate from this system is physically, right? If we're going to physically separate, we got to acquire some land. And with this land, we've already talked about food. We'll be able to produce food. We won't have to ask our enemies to house us or to come in and look over our lifestyle. We can go and build something independent and put our own preferences, our own culture on our land, and make the rules on our land. Does anybody have anything they want to touch on when it comes to separating by acquiring land?
Brother
Aiden? I could just add this small quote from the Honorable Elijah Muhammad.
Yes, sir.
And he said, "The root is always in the land." You got to think about how we can produce clothing from land. We produce food. We produce milk. We produce so much from the land. So really, if we get to acquiring the land, we can be free overnight, because we will have all of our needs. The toilet paper, clothing, makeup, anything that we need, it all comes from first having land.
That's right.
So once we get land, we can really get the necessities of life: food, clothing, shelter, and water. But all we got to do is go right under our foot and start doing for self and working for self, so we can be free. Yes,
sir. Thank you for that answer, dear brother. Acquiring land is just so important. I want to make a shout out while we can to Hereafter Farms, brother Ben X and brother Farrakhan, who have been working so diligently to influence that mindset. So they've acquired the land, but now they're going around to certain areas and putting in the mindset into the people that it's possible to separate in that aspect. Because a lot of our people don't believe that we could even do it. We've been handed everything from our open enemies for so long that we don't even have the belief that it could be done. And so, God has to set these examples in the world for us to see that it's possible, so that we can either help them to do it, or we can start our own journey in doing that as well. And acquiring land means that we could build our own hospitals, own schools, away from all of the drama and the nonsense from this world that we live in. And I thank you, brothers, for your answers and expounding on that. And we want to move into separating education.
I had one. I just want Brother Aiden to go first.
Yes, sir.
But with the land requirements, I mean, if you look into what's it called, Message to the Black Man, I believe it's on page 174, where it states that it says, gather 6 to 8 like-minded people.
Come on.
And go and get whatever you want to go get.
That's right.
So a lot of us think that, okay, we need at least 1,000 of us to go in to do something like this, acquire land. Everything gotta be big, massive. Look, it's not gonna happen like that.
That's right.
Let's just be honest. It's never gonna happen.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Even when they came and conquered America, at first 2 of them showed up.
That's right. Man. Man. That's right.
Then they left and came back and got about 15.
Yes, sir.
Then they left and came back. Next thing you know, they had about 100 or 2.
That's right.
Left and came back, had about 2,000-3,000. It just kept going over and over.
That's
so when it comes to this, I mean, the first requirement of the knowledge is the first requirement of the land is knowledge.
Yes, sir.
So once you have possession of it, you know exactly what to do.
That's right.
The agenda is fine. The message is fine. But once you have it in your possession, then what? It's like a rapper or an athlete having all that money but not knowing what to do with the money.
Come on.
Eventually you'll lose it.
That's right.
You know, like how my family did. They had counties of land on both sides, mother and father.
Yes, sir.
But they didn't have the knowledge of what to do with the land, so eventually they lost the land.
Yes, sir.
You know, that's the first thing I would step into. Then really just take the initiative. You know, as an individual, just get you an acre or a half acre.
That's right.
You know, and just be the example.
Come on.
Or a quarter acre. Man. There's a brother here. I admire him so much, man. Like he bought about a half acre of land, built his own home on top of the land himself, like by himself. Wow. And been living in that house for about 20 years.
Oh man.
You know
himself, man.
Yeah, he in the mosque, he's in the Ministry of Agriculture. Wow. Got a garden in the backyard. He don't go to the grocery store, you know, not much, but I admire that brother a whole lot.
Man.
You know, and he did that by himself. And every single time I think about land, I think about him.
Yes, sir.
You know, taking that initiative. So yeah, take the initiative and just gonna make it happen. It's really an easy process.
That's right. That's right. I thank you for letting the people know about starting off small, you know, because you can do that. You could even get a patch of land and you can run a thing to where you teaching the youth in the community, the kids in the community how to garden just off of what you got, you know, and just off of that, you know, after you get that next piece of land, you'll have motivated people who will be able to cultivate that land and keep it up and running. And so when you die, man, that land won't, you know, malnourished and it won't be useful at the time by we figure out that you had the land. No, let's pass this knowledge on to our youth. And if you like to start small, whether it's with a plot of land or with a school out of your home, you should go ahead and do it. And like our brother said, just go ahead and do it. Make those steps toward doing it. And I guarantee you that God will help you along that path of separating from this unrighteous world. And so, man, that was some beautiful answers there. And we're going to move on to an educational aspect of separation. And the first thought that I sort of have is seeing ourselves in this educational system, right? Because what we learn about is that, you know, we were sort of jungle people that were taken from the jungles and made slaves by another people. And that's our history right there. And so when we see ourselves in that, we can't see the value in that kind of history, you know, because they don't teach us that we had an aspect in building every single part of America. Everything that has a benefit in America is mostly built by somebody who was Black or a Aboriginal human being. And so when we think about, you know, seeing ourselves and the knowledge of self, the lack of knowledge of self that we have in our educational system, what's some things that come to our mind pertaining to that?
That last part you said was the lack of ourselves in the educational system?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Just seeing ourselves in the knowledge of self, the lack of the knowledge of ourselves in this educational system, and how we can work toward making those small steps toward separating from that mindset that, you know, we just come from being slaves and, you know, hey, man, white people came over here and made a better land out of what was already here. Because that's really the narrative, you know. And so how can we separate from that mindset and getting an education that is valuable to us?
Well, you know, as a parent, you know, you always want to keep your children on your side. And yes, there is two sides.
That's right. That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, there is. I'd have been on the other side before.
Yeah. It was cool at first.
Man. Yeah, man. Yeah. You're real hard.
A little bit older, man. That juice started to wear off. You're like, hold on, man. It's not working no more, Doc. Yes. But you know, yeah, as a parent, man, I got a little girl, she's 8. And you always want to keep your children on your side.
Yes, sir.
The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said that if you're not able to send your child to a private school or homeschool them, Well, no, let me take that back. He said if you're not able to homeschool your children and you have to send them to a public school, when they get home, you debrief them.
That's right.
You
Oh,
go
beautiful
over
point.
you go over what they learned
Yes,
and
sir.
throw out what isn't right and teach them what they need and what is right and proper for them.
Come on,
You
man.
know, and you'll be surprised how much the child actually retains the information
Mhm.
that you say over the teacher.
Come on.
You know, because in natural, the teacher kind of got a, I'm not gonna say got an edge, but they kind of got a little edge over you because they got about 30, 40 other students at the same time,
Come on.
all agreeing with the teacher all
That's
at once. So it seems right,
that's right.
you know. But that as far as at home, most definitely debrief the children every day or every other day or so, whatever seems comfortable to you.
Yes.
Then also, as far as the lack of images,
Mhm.
there's most definitely the from slavery up until now. But if you look at what's before slavery, back until let's just say when Jesus was around, it's
That's right.
just straight majesty that's not being taught in the American system.
Come on.
Um,
That's
you can go against all the kings, the rulers, the pharaohs, the
mhm.
great general war heroes, even inside of the martial arts realm, with some of the great generals inside of that. So there's just complete greatness
Come on.
way before slavery,
That's right.
you know, and that's in some of that debriefing. You can do some of that with your own children.
Yes, sir. Yes, man. Beautiful points. Beautiful points, big brother. I don't have any children, but just you expounding on that, it give me something to go forward with. But we pray, man, that we got our own schools by the time I have some, so we can make sure they're getting that proper education, the proper knowledge itself, and the proper handling of their people. So yes, sir. Brother Aiden, you got anything you'd like to expound on?
I just want to go with my own experiences.
Sir.
I remember being in fourth grade, and I remember telling my teacher that I wanted to be a doctor.
Mhm.
And I remember my teacher told me, "Well, Aiden, you will make a good basketball player. Why don't you go into that?"
That's right.
So, the enemy, and it's not even just in the school systems itself, just with the media too, because the media educates us also.
Come on.
We have a lot of figures to look up to in the basketball and the entertainment and the rap world, but often we don't see ourselves anywhere that has to deal with intelligence. Now,
Mm.
what attracted me to the Nation of Islam was hearing Malcolm X and how he was teaching, and this man had like what a eighth grade education, and he
Come
was
on.
going to Harvard, and he was beating them. He
That's
was beating them in the debates and beating them here, and he was teaching on how we are the origin of civilization. That everything that white people have built now, they got it from our knowledge.
that's
That
right.
we taught them even how to bathe.
That's right.
While they was crawling around under all fours, we had civilizations that was 10 times, 100 times greater than America. So
Yes,
when
sir.
you read about that, for me being 16 years old, reading that for the first time and never having, I didn't know any Black history, none of that. And reading that for the first time, it made me go from a straight F student. Now, when I was in chemistry class, I could put some Black faces to it, knowing that we invented chemistry,
Mm.
knowing that we invented biology, knowing that we invented literature. It
Come on.
made me want to master it, and it
Mm.
made me want to become a master among men, because that's my potential. And
Yes.
often with the images, it gives us really false comparisons. We really compare ourselves to slaves, so that we
That's right.
brag when we get that office position, because
Come on.
in slavery we didn't get to be next to the slave master,
Come
Mm.
on.
besides serving him. So when we
That's
get our own office, we become big niggas in there.
come on.
We
Say
we,
that. Yes,
we,
sir.
we got our name on the door, and
That's right.
I'm Mr. Williams.
Come on.
We get into that high thinking, but really, if we really got our thinking straight and we educate our children and educate them on who they really are,
Come
you
on.
would turn them from wanting to strive to be next to the slave master to actually wanting to build their own school, and
That's
actually wanted to build and do for themselves.
Yes, sir. Don't y'all think it's crazy how all of these topics tie in there right into each other? Like I'm hearing points from here that came from the first topic, second. Man, it's also beautiful how Allah can put that into that aspect of understanding all things and having all things pertaining to our separation, which would mean that all things pertaining to our oppression, they all circulate into our freedom as well. We just have to reverse engineer like they do in the military. They take something, reverse engineer it for it to work in the same manner that it was supposed to work, originally. And so, I think it's amazing the advice that we're given here to be able to separate from this educational system. Obviously, we need to invest in our own schools. But we must know what to teach our children. So I want to influence everybody who is watching to go get, learn some Black history, learn about Timbuktu, man, learn about all these things, higher levels of knowledge and education that we used to have, study the original Buddha, the hair texture of that, and what that entails about the original man of this world. And so, to be able to sustain anything after our education, we have to be financially literate as well, right? And that means knowing how to make money, knowing how to keep money, sustain it, and grow your money, but also knowing that the financial system of America, there's so many loops and tricks within what you can do with taxes, the things you don't have to pay that they make you feel like you do have to pay, and I just think that, being financially literate is something that we absolutely need in this world to carry on. Does anybody have any examples from our community that show a lack of financial literacy, or any example that you can pull from this world that'll give us advice on how to move forward with financial literacy?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I have an example from both.
Yes, sir.
Me with me being on both sides.
Mm.
A lot of people just think, I don't even know where to start at.
Right. When I was going, my mind was all over. I said, man, I'm gonna have to let the brother take over.
Yeah, the literacy stems from really like in not to just talk about slavery, like that's just the root cause to everything. Right. But in this case, it is.
That's right.
There was 3 things that the slave master always said that they was never going to teach us. Mm-hmm. That was the science of mating, which I think some of us kind of done lucked up and figured it out.
That's right.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. The science of mating, the science of business, and the science of warfare.
Yes, sir.
So, we presume, like I said, this American dream. Mm-hmm. Part of that is getting out, getting you a good job, working here 20 to 30 years and retire.
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
And live off Social Security. That's part of that American dream.
Yes, sir.
Typically factory work. However, what they didn't tell you is that as you work for those jobs, that there's ways that if your salary is $30,000 and you're getting taxed 10,000 of that, there's ways that you can get all of that money and still get a return. That's the literacy part.
That's right.
Financial literacy part.
Come on.
They didn't tell you that because they want you focused on this dream, aka the American white dream.
That's right. That's right.
That's what it is. It's the American white dream. You stay the slave, you stay the nigga, you stay the Negro.
That's right.
Or whatever you want to call yourself. The athlete, the rapper, the cool guy, whatever.
That's right.
You stay that, and we're gonna stay over here with these billions.
Come on.
So, a financial literacy part is just not really having the desire. It stems from not it being taught or presented as something right to do, which is to study law, finances, and also business as well.
That's right.
We were stuck on the factory, the quick money, and paying the IRS to get them off of our backs and
Come
just
on.
making enough to get it by.
Wow.
You know,
Yes.
and for those who had the big money that got eventually made it to the top,
Mhm.
yeah, their monies and their income had changed, but the mindset was still the same.
That's right.
So eventually, over a period of time, you had leeches around your business
Come on.
that sucked your money dry.
That's right.
Look at someone like Mike Tyson made $400 million,
Mm.
and all that went down to zero.
Wow. Wow. Man.
He was on top of the world
Yes,
in
sir.
the 80s and 90s,
That's right.
and he was financial literate,
Mhm.
never had a desire to learn. But once he had that desire to learn and understood the business, he got
Mhm.
all of that back and then
That's
some. Now I
yes.
gotta use a rapper. Our brother
Mhm.
Young Jeezy said this himself.
Yes, sir.
He said, I had to learn business so I wouldn't get played.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
Then he went
Mhm.
on and said, that's why a couple of them albums was kind of trash
Mm.
because they got me early on.
Wow.
Now, this is someone who was rich before the rap game.
That's right. That's right. That's
So
right.
the new money wasn't really, it was money, but it was just like, okay, I already had some. This is
Yes,
just
sir.
some legal cash. Let's
Come
just say
on now.
that.
Yes, sir.
Let's just say that. But the just to wrap it up, it was never presented as something to do. So
Mhm.
obviously our parents never went home and debriefed us on it.
That's right.
They just taught us what to do to survive and to make sure everything goes according to plan. So you'll have a decent way of life.
That's right.
That's why if you look at our parents, I mean, I would assume our parents are close to the same age. If I go talk to my dad about some trading and
Mhm.
stocks and getting paid for views off YouTube, he gonna look at me like I'm crazy, man.
Mhm.
And how I know I
Yes,
already
sir.
did it. Man, hey, look.
Yes, sir.
Man, look, I graduated high school. I'm about to go to college to play football. And after that, I'm gonna go. I don't know what else I was gonna do. He said, Mark, forget all that. Go get you a trade and be just like me. I'm like, Pops, I don't want to be like you, Doc.
You know, man, it's really a blessing that we have all of these forms of finances that we can actually study nowadays. Before it was really go get a job. You need somebody who's gonna be a boss to give you a paycheck. Now you can really learn. It's like the internet played such a good important part of that, because it used to be Wall Street. Oh, they into the stocks. We gonna let them handle the stocks for the country.
Exactly.
No, now everybody got the knowledge. Now everybody's in these markets and pulling from Simpsons, making money off of different currencies and so forth. And just when you were talking about the desire to learn more, right? One thing that our open enemies did during the time when we had like Black Wall Street and I forget the other city, right? After they came and set and bombed these places, the psychological transformation that happened is that our people no longer wanted to be financially literate, because they felt as if they acquired that, built something of their own, that our open enemies could come in anytime and just tear it down. So what's the point anyway? And so that left a long lasting effect on what we were actually interested in. Because if we had seen the success in that and seen it all the way through, we know, oh man, we just take the example of Black Wall Street. They still going, they got 30 buses, 4 different banks and over 300 businesses. So we would have been able to see that. But our enemy, they know what's inspiring to us, and they cut off the things that inspire us to do better in this world. And so it's a very strategic move. And I thank you for touching on all these financially literate aspects, because our open enemy is very strategic when it comes to taking the motivation away from doing it. Anything that they see us doing successfully, music, movies, anything, they try to put some type of excuse or try to put some restriction on it, as they did with Brother Benex and our brother Farrakhan, when they were buying land in northern Georgia, they actually implemented new restrictions and laws to land so that they can stop that process in which they were doing that. And they had to relocate to a southern part of Georgia to be able to do that. And so I just want the people watching to know there is an ongoing, the devil said, I will lie in the straight path of God's people. So they not coming, they not sitting and that's already set up, that jail, prisons, that's set up for the unrighteous path, but they won't even allow us to be fully righteous without hopping in our way and trying to spin the narrative so that, we don't look like the supreme culture at the end of the day, because what they influence is their culture. And if their culture seems like it can be more impactful, more beneficial to the people, then the people, they have no desire in looking for any other forms of culture. And so as anybody would like to, as we're ending the, what are we on? We're on educationally. Is there anything that we would like to end off with before going into this next subject here? Oh, beautiful, man.
Now, I wanted to throw in there real quick, man, with the Wall Street stocks part, that what the internet did, the internet cut out the middleman.
That's right.
So we had free access to education. Now we just had to go find it.
That's right.
That's
right.
So yeah, that's
yes, sir.
That was that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Glad you put that icing on that cake right there. So our next topic is how we can culturally separate from this world, right? And so the first thing I had written down was the crab in the bucket mentality, because that's a culture. That's a part of our culture as Black people here in America, is the crab and bucket mentality. The fact that you feel like you have to step on the back of another to make you seem more important. And that's because our former slave masters never seen us as a whole as something valuable. They always take the one, put them in the house. They call them a house Negro. They put them in the house. They clean them up. They get to sit next to Miss Sally and all the other representatives of the big house. And we come up and we see each other as our own opponents. We see each other as a competitive nature that we're in because we want to shine for our open oppressors. And so when we talk about culturally and talking about that crab in the bucket mentality, is there anything that sparked in you all's minds?
Oh, yeah, yes, sir. I don't know if y'all heard this before. Someone asked Jay-Z the same question. And Jay-Z said, well, first off, what are crabs doing in a bucket? It's supposed to be in the water.
Yes, sir. Man, you out of your nature already.
You already twisted up
on
top of each other, man, not breathing.
That's right.
All that stuff, man, suffocated.
Yes, sir.
So, and if you just look at it like just our communities in the suburbs or in the cities.
That's right.
I'm not saying that like in the inner city, those are bad areas. It's not that. It's only bad when you don't have the resources or it seems like you don't have a way out.
Come on, that's right.
Based off of a mental condition or a physical condition that's been placed on you that started in the mental, then went to the physical. So, that's really, I go through the hood all the time, or I don't, to be honest with you, I don't even call it the hood no more. I just say I go to the community, the Black
Come
community.
on now. I actually love it, man. I actually, what's the worst part?
Yeah, I don't even view it like that. Yeah, I don't even view it like that, man. This is the Black community, man.
Come on now.
Where we at right now. And as I'm riding through it, man, I just sometimes I stop and talk to the people.
That's right.
Sometimes I gotta handle some business. But whenever I'm out with the brothers, man, we in the field, man, a lot of them young brothers, like how Sister Ava said, a lot of them have drive, they just don't have direction.
Come on now. Wow.
They got a lot of ambition, a lot of goals, man. And they got a lot of drive, man. They be reading, bro.
That's right.
They be reading. They just don't know where to apply that.
Yes, sir.
Because college is $20,000 a year for someone who don't seem as smart.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
The reason why I stopped going to college was because of them prereq stuff. It wasn't like I couldn't do the work. I didn't want to do high school work again.
That's right. That's right, man. Beautiful point there, brother. They'll waste your money with classes that don't have anything
exactly
to do with some major point of why you're there.
Man, they was hitting me for $450 a class, bro.
Come on.
I had to take all of them all over again.
Wow.
I said, man, look, I did it for 2 semesters.
Yes, sir.
I stopped.
Yes, sir.
I said, forget this. I was going to become a doctor.
That's
but you know, just to stay on the subject though, man.
Yes,
man, that's just man, they just got a lot of drive, man. They just don't have a lot of direction.
That's right.
So, you know, one thing as older brothers or older men or those who have a sense of direction, just go down there and just get their phone numbers and just point them in the right direction.
Yes, sir.
That's what the 9 ministries is for.
That's right.
You know, when I was a captain, that's what I did. On Monday night FOI class, went to the streets, got their name and phone numbers, plugged them with an individual who knew what to do.
Yes, sir.
And whatever happened just happened. I couldn't follow up, but I tried.
Yes, sir.
You know,
that's
so
right.
Man, that's just it though, bro.
Yes, sir. Man, beautiful points you made there, dear brother. Brother Aiden. Yes, sir.
When I think of the crabs in the barrel mentality, I think of, you know, often as Black people, when we get positions and when we get in certain places in life and we make it up even the enemy's ladder, we don't like to put each other on because we don't want the other person to seem to be better than us. We want to be better than each other. And often we talk about, I hear Black people often, you know, talk down on the so-called Mexican and Hispanic community because when they come into positions, man, they hiring their cousin, they hiring their brothers.
That's right.
You know, a truck of them coming in, you know, once they get a position at this job, it's going to be the whole family in there once they get in charge. And often we look bad on that. We look down on that because they coming in and all of a sudden something that was all Black or all white becomes all so-called Hispanic and Mexican. But what we really need to do is we need to do the same thing. We need to put each other on a little more. We need to give each other opportunities and really reach our hands out to our people and string them along and until we can take over and until we can be successful like other communities are. But we won't be able to do it as individuals. You know, often we want to be individual, but we can't be individual. We have to work as a unit. We gotta unite, and we gotta come together in order for us to be a strong force together.
That's right. That's right, man. Appreciate y'all expounding on that. I want to ask the crowd, man, is the like button broken? Because we got 8 eyes, right? And I'm seeing the likes, man. I need somebody that's viewing to check that for me to see if the like button's broken. You know, I appreciate y'all going and doing that. If you happen to like what you're hearing so far, then go ahead and let your heart express that. I appreciate that. And so we are on cultural aspects of separating, and we just sort of expounded on the crab in the bucket mentality. And I'd like to move on to what it means to be dignified in your appearance, right? Because before I was put on to the new mindset that I have about myself. You know, I experienced life as a young Black male. I mean, when I could say that when I go out in this suit, I'm not necessarily experiencing life like that. It's almost like an anomaly of being a highly intelligent Black man, because that's what you really perceive yourself as. You could have a lack of intelligence to wear a suit, right? But the world's perspective on how they see you makes you be able to enter a room and somebody not play you for your price, because they see that you got value within your mind, and they can't downplay your actions now or downplay a deal that they want to do with you, because they see how you hold yourself up, you know? And when it comes to just dignifying ourselves and how we dress, pulling up our pants, man. These little things that help to show mental aspects of our community. When I bring up this, do y'all have anything that comes to your mind that you'd like to say to the people?
Yes, sir. Just Man, just it's when you really look at it, like how we said earlier, you get a true understanding of it when you go to a root of it.
Hmm.
Root knowledge is the best form of knowledge. Knowledge, not branch knowledge.
That's right.
Branch knowledge is what we saw. Me personally, that the pants sagging area. I mean, era. That was my era.
Oh man.
And I'm telling you, man, that joint hit so hard.
Oh
It
man.
was like, man, it was just like everywhere, man.
Yep.
Baggy jeans, all that stuff. But
That's
what we saw was the branches of an understanding of really something very negative,
right.
but it was styled in such a way that it was cool. So the true meaning of it and understanding of it was really hidden. That was a prison
That's
term, which was
that's right.
that you was available to do homosexual activities.
Come on
You
now.
know, and of course, to us, it was like how I said earlier, styled savage behavior,
Hmm.
um, which of course we adopted and things like that. But as far as me personally, what I wanted to do, to be honest, in that era, like I think I was like I know I wasn't, but in my city, I think I was the first one to like pull my pants up
Mm.
and literally start wearing like fitted jeans in like
Come
20
on.
like 2012 and stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? They
That's
weren't
right.
that tight, but they was on my waist.
Man, that's right.
And the
Yes.
reason why I did that was because at first I heard a brother say that the way that you dress is a reflection about how you feel about yourself on the inside.
That's right.
When I first heard him say that, I didn't even believe him. I thought he was just saying that because he was doing a speech in the projects.
Yes, sir.
But once I came in tune with what he was in tune with, I began to understand how he was thinking and
Mhm.
believe exactly what that brother said.
Yes.
And when I walked the streets, I wanted people to think those things of me as well. In other words, I wanted them to really to be able to see my aura of the light that I'm shining upon you.
Come
So I
on.
began to change my image by first changing my mindset
That's
of my own personal image, which eventually led and bled out to my clothes, my shoes, my
that's
hair, all that stuff, my
that's
fingernails, how I talk, how I walk, how I look,
that's right.
all that.
Man,
So yeah, I wanted to separate and also bring in a different culture
that's right.
of black men, young men at that time and young men now, and also in appearance. So when it's talked about how to be, I want them to say, man, look, be like Muhammad.
Come on.
You
That's
know,
what I'm talking
my
about.
first name is Mark, but when the name Muhammad's mentioned, the face
That's
shows
right.
up.
That's right.
I don't need the first. I don't need the first name. Just the face shows up, and the appearance shows up, and the suit and the shoes showed up, and the clean shaved face, and basically just God just showed up.
That's right.
That's
That's
what I
right.
truly wanted
Yes, sir.
for other individuals to think. And
That's right.
through the grace of Allah, people were starting to think that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, man. And it, just when you were talking about man, how we back in school, right? Man, when I started to change up the sort of baggy, saggy sort of pants wear, right? I moved to a new school with a better environment in a better district. And when I seen the comparison of myself to these people that had their pants up, they was a little more fitted, they wasn't so loose. And man, I could see how they carried themselves and how they felt about that. And I was noticing, man, this rap lifestyle swag you got going on here, man, it ain't the cream of the crop here, if that makes sense. I had to realize that, man, like, I guess there is more to how I can dress and how I can style myself. And it was a change of environment for me. When you see brothers come through, when they standing at the door of the mosque, they pull their pants up. Well, I can say this about everybody who they get to fixing themselves up. And sometimes, when we out in the streets, they look over and subliminally they start to pull their pants up and start to make sure that they look right, man. They start to, man, I walk up to a window and I got a final call, man. I see the person smoking. They try to hide the blunt. And I go, hey, brother, sis, hey, you be yourself. I just want to tell you about this Black-owned newspaper we got here and what it can do for us in our community. And that's really, like you said, the presence of God showing up within us is a reflection of how people would see if God was approaching them. You would want to hide all of the negative aspects of what you got going on so that you can match up with your environment. And that's just the point on how important environment is. And from all the facts that have been stated now, Brother Aiden, is there anything that you want to add to this?
Yes, sir. Really, the environment that Black people are living in now is really made by the enemy.
Come on.
The enemy of God. So it's not a godly environment, obviously.
Yes.
You know, with the sagging our pants, and you see with Black culture is often linked with soul food too. You got the Black culture diet, the so-called Black culture diet.
That's right. You
to
do
go
got a
with
Black culture diet.
Yeah.
That's right.
So you're eating ignorance while also you are digesting ignorance with the media and with the TV and
That's
with
right.
everything. So the first thing we got to do, like one thing that really attracted me to the teachings of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and Nation of Islam is this new Black culture that like you said, you know, fixing. You see, I fixed myself up when I first came to the mosque, and
Yes, sir.
seeing the brothers and see how they're so clean. I remember my wife, that's what made her register. She saw how clean the brothers are, how polite they were, how these brothers had functional families and functional marriages, and striving. You just look perfect just in trying to be right, striving to be right.
Come on.
So really, once we control our own environment, and again, this is just linked with doing for self, we can really shape the way our culture is. We don't have to have the enemy shaping it with him owning the music and him owning the neighborhood that we live in and owning the food and the grocery stores. Once we honestly take ownership and take independence, then that goes into controlling our own narrative with the Black culture.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What something that you actually just said helps us move into this next point that I have written here, which is detrimental forms of art and what that entails, right? And I'm gonna put some facts behind this detrimental art, and I want you all to think about ways you can teach the people on how to start separating from what, you know, the environment of what I'm getting ready to explain. And that would be that, you know, these record label owners, they invest into the prison systems, and then they look for people that they know will influence our youth to make actions that will give them prison and jail time. You know, that's one of the tricks that they use. And obviously, without us having our own film studios, you know, the enemy can, like I said, like we said, you know, the desire for money, you know, all they got to do is offer enough and say, yeah, we're gonna throw a little bit of this in there, you know, we're gonna throw a little bit. If you could wear this dress, you know, we'd appreciate it if you can do that, you know. And so we don't have the control over how our art is put out and making the money from our art. You know, it's just such a detrimental process of how somebody can set it up like that, man. Invest into something detrimental, make it seem beneficial for somebody so that their community is ill affected by it. Out of everything that was just said, do y'all have any thoughts that came to your minds?
No, sir, beloved. Just I was going to ask that. What did you say that you said? Delegating arts? Is that what you said?
So, detrimental forms of art.
Detrimental forms of art. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And I wouldn't even say forms, detrimental uses of art, because, you know, these forms of art are absolutely amazing. Yeah. But, you know, yeah, detrimental uses of these forms of art.
Okay. I like how you put that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, you gotta check, man. When you in this work, man, you always checking for how you can define something correctly, man. You wanna, as a teacher to the online world, man, we should always be striving to improve ourselves the next time and the next time that we explain something. And you know, man, I do my best, big brother. So, you know, all praise is due to Allah. And you know, any other thoughts pertaining to that? You know, we obviously know we need to own our own things so that we can control the narrative. with our arts and culture, because you know all of our youth is into that. Every single one of them. It ain't one of them that'll tell you. He might be lying if he tell you he ain't in the arts and culture, you know, because that's something that we all get into in our younger ages as well. Brother Aiden, you got something you want to say?
For me personally, and I know this would help, you know, people who are in the righteous space, people who are into the so-called conscious community, just to make more content and to make more quality content, because a lot of the ignorant stuff has the best picture, has the best,
Ooh,
you know,
good
HD
point.
quality, has the best, you know, you get ignorance. Like you know, I was explaining this to a brother, like, you know, I can get seasons, literally seasons of an ignorant show, but when it comes to the consciousness, you
Come
know,
on.
it's not in the same consistency. So I feel like the conscious community
Man,
and brothers who are so-called woke and doing all this, we need to have some more content, so that way young brothers can be watching this. We need some more brothers vlogging. We need
that's
some more brothers being economically successful, like brother Ben X with the Corvette, and you
that's
know, getting into that, because you know our young brothers, they want to see what you got for it too.
that's right.
You know,
That's
so
right.
really just putting ourselves out there more. You know, we don't have a lot of spaces. You know, we can look up to LeBron, we can look up to the rappers, but a lot of the brothers that's conscious, you know, is not really out there. So we gotta create more. We can't just have 4 brothers out there doing all the content creative work. You know,
That's right.
we need some more people out there. We need everybody out there at least trying to do something, so that way we can have better examples for the black men, young black men and women out there seeking these examples, because they're out there.
That's right. That's right. Thank you for that, brother Aiden. And so as we move on, right, culturally, I think that we need to separate from that aspect in our community that influences a lack of love and a lack of respect. And I think that that knowledge of self that we've been talking about allows you to respect yourself. That would allow you to respect somebody else in return. You can only, you know, it's common that you love something that you can respect. You know, it's a pretty, we may have a few family members we don't respect, but we, you know, we love them internally, you know, but we can't respect the lifestyle that they live. But usually to influence love, it comes behind a form of respect. You know, I can respect how you act. I can respect your mindset and what you do and your goals and ambitions in this world. And I love that. I love what I can respect about you, right? And so, you know, if y'all have anything that will allow our people to understand how we can further respect and love one another, please feel free. You brothers have the floor here.
Oh, yes, sir. Most. Well, you know, the first step is to be to be a representative of what you want them to respect, and what exactly you want them to respect, and what exactly you want them to love.
That's right. Wow.
You know,
Wow. Beautiful point, brother. That's very important. You know,
you gotta, you know, you can't just walk up really on nobody, but not no black person. But look,
that's
man,
right.
Look, I need you to love me
and respect me. Like, man, you got a long way to go before I sit on that rock with you, man.
I couldn't even get it out, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, they're gonna be like, dude, what?
Come on now.
You know what I mean? But
that's right. So defining love and respect, really. Defining it within yourself and outside yourself. Because our people, they're not gonna know what to respect. But you know, it's crazy. We don't even teach them what to respect, but we get a lot of respect just as brothers in the nation going into our community, you know, because they see that the work is respectable. There's not much that you can't respect about the work that we do in our community, which sort of inclines them to not be so hateful toward us, or you'll take it and you disrespect a good lifestyle so much that you hate us for being good in front of you. Sometimes that happens, you know. Man,
I gotta write that down. Hold on.
Yes. I'm gonna send you the video. I'm gonna download the video, send the whole thing to you, dear brother.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm gonna let you finish. Do you had anything? I just had to let that one out, brother.
Man, hey, that might have been the one right there, man.
That was a lot talking right there, man. It just came through, big brother. I need to remember that one right there.
Yeah, that
Yes,
was a
sir.
nice one.
Man. Yes, sir. So love and respect. Brother Aiden, you got anything you want to add to the subject, big brother?
Just treating people the way that we want to be treated would command that respect right there. Often we don't treat each other right, and we can't command respect. Really, just following the restrictive laws will get that love and respect in our community that we need. Because how can I respect you if you're gossiping about me? How can I respect you if you sleeping with my daughter or sleeping with my sister? These are things that break peace. Often people look at brothers trying to live righteous and they see it as, I had a video on this, really seeing it as rules. But really, these are really guidelines to keep the peace in society. No fornication, no adultery. These things keep peace, because really the significant part of Islam is really peace. So as long as we keep the peace with keeping the laws, when we can get that respect, because really it's just treating others the way we want to be treated.
That's right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. We actually let me see, we can move on because we done, some of the things I had down, we touch on because they incorporate into every subject. I'm so fascinated on how all these things are really just intertwined here, man. This is actually a beautiful thing to see as it moves forward in front of my face here. And so we want to move on to this last subject, which is financially separating from our enemy, right? Which is, it's a double-sided saying, because we use the money of that the currency of America, and you're going to need that to be able to pay for certain things, but when we talk about separating from their financial ways and the culture that they have financially, when we talk about waiting for government funds, and also just being financially literate as well, which ties into what we were talking about before. What are some ways that you all feel that we can take those small steps toward separating financially, and not necessarily separating financially, but not depending on anybody for your finances here in America?
Man, brother Anthony, man, it's funny that you said that, because earlier I was talking to a very close friend of mine, and I said exactly what you just said. Like, it's kind of like really impossible to actually separate from this government,
right?
Because we're still going to need particular things.
That's right.
Yes. And that's basically just money. We can grow our own food, make clothes, all that stuff, but just money.
Right. That's right.
But in we was the person who I was talking about, we was talking about law and all that stuff like that. To really to be free, it first starts with the spirit.
That's right.
And having something that's functioning like a human being.
Yes.
On its own access, of course. Mm-hmm. So that's why you have in law, you have corporations and LLCs and things that can be represented as a human being in court. Mm-hmm. Right. And speaking on those things, of course, it's easier to just have a business that's self-revolving, self-perpetuating, that's generating funds. That's going to free you physically and also mentally as well. But on top of that, it would be better to get you a trust fund, particularly an irrevocable trust fund. Now, this is where the separation actually comes at, right here on this part. Yes. Because now you can use, just like corporations and LLCs, you can use the trust fund that's represented as a person on any document. Mm-hmm. So you physically on documentation, see, you already spiritually removed yourself, mentally removed, physically removed. Now you're removing your name off of that what's called chattel paper.
Come on.
and now you're physically 100% free.
Mm.
You know, but you can't go too far.
That's
because
right.
you won't have access to American benefits. And when I say benefits, I mean like doing business in America, get monies and stuff like that.
Yes, sir.
Not government assistance.
That's right.
So that's the, you know, we talk about separation and things like that, and it's a great subject.
That's
However, when it comes into getting involved into the process, it takes some time to get separated.
That's right.
You know, that's why in the back of our final call newspaper, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad says that we'll establish our own state and territory of our own, and you all will fund us for up to 20 to 25 years.
That's right.
Because he knew way before we knew that it takes a lot of time to get funded.
That's right.
I mean, not funded. I'm sorry, to get truly separated.
That's right.
You know, and even if you look at the history of America, when they wanted to establish themselves, they went and took out massive loans from Britain and was supposed to pay him back, but they didn't.
That's right. That's right, man.
But later they went and fought for their own independence.
Mm-hmm.
You know, but we'll get into that kind of history another day, another time. So that's the true steps of freedom, of separation. Yes, to establish land and territory of your own, to give back their religion, their names, and their way of life. Then eventually removing yourself off of their documents, but not far enough so you can continue to do business in America if you choose to live there.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And if anybody out there, if you possibly been brainstorming for a way to just financial independent financial stability, you know, we're really in a blessed world to where, man, we could pick up things like as an independent contractor to do certain things, even like Uber, Lyft. I mean, any of these services, you know, that can benefit you in the long run and allow you to work your own hours. That's what freedom is. Whether it's under another company, whatever the name is, if you're able to operate on your own frequency and on your own energy and your own time, then that makes you somebody who is necessarily free for what we're talking about, particularly right now. And so, you know, one of the mental aspects that I see that we can separate from financially is getting into cooperative economics, right? Because we pull away from that, you know, because we have a lack of trust of one another. I'm gonna share my money with you and I don't even trust you. I'm gonna trust that you gonna help to put in the same effort as me if I doubt that you even want to put that same effort in the first place. And so thinking about that aspect of mentally stepping away from cooperative economics, is there anything that sparked in you all's minds that you like to share to the people?
Brother, that was perfect what you just said, really.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So I can go into talking about now our own banks, right? Like you said, man, you come in there and we ask our open oppressors for loans and things of that nature. And then somebody else that don't look like us can come in and get a better loan. You know, so if we got our own banks, we got no reason to complain about those inconsistencies in the numbers that they hand out to indigenous people of color, and people who are not of. And you know, it's sort of just we have to think, man. So what are we gonna do, man? We have to bring our own money together, get some financial experts that know how to invest that money within a bank, you know, so that we can give out loans to our people, and we can give our people the benefit of the doubt, because they've been getting the opposite side of that for so long that I think that they deserve to have some guidance as well behind that financial support that we can give them. And just thinking about owning our own banks, is there anything that sparked in you all's minds just now?
Me personally, I would say that before you do anything that would create an immediate warfare, especially in business, you most definitely have to study all of the laws according to that.
That's right. Because
there was a sister. Have you ever seen Independence Bank?
No, I have not.
It's white and green. So, but if you look it up,
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Definitely.
Guess what? That was started by black people.
Wow.
It's owned by whites now.
Wow.
That's why it's called Independence Bank. You know, they were striving though, brother.
Oh man, the
was good.
irony in it, man, is hurtful, man.
Yeah, that's why it's called independence. Like, you know,
Yes, sir.
so you know,
Wow.
and I was dealing with, well, excuse me, I'm sorry, I wasn't dealing with her. I forgot the sister's name, but Brother King Cam did an interview with a sister who was opening up a hospital.
Okay.
And she was saying that it took a number of years to get that established because she was going in with the big dogs.
Come on now.
Term that she used.
That's right.
So she went through multiple death threats. Particular warrants was not warrants, but inspections was being held for up to a year or two.
That's right.
And they was giving her a hard time on the business structure of the hospital building.
Okay.
You know, so it took about 5 to 7 years to even get little things.
That's right.
So I would just say before you do that, even though it's been done before, study the laws, all of the laws, from beginning to the end.
Come on.
See exactly how to establish that.
That's right.
Before
you run into a roadblock in that path, man. Yeah. That's, you know, just previously, man, we talked about Hereafter Farms and that roadblock, but that wasn't, you know, we got to be prepared to overcome anything because they dropped new laws on them to prevent them from continuing. They wasn't even in place before until they seen that we had the motivation to acquire some land and actually do something with it. You know, as a state, I'll probably be worried too because, you know, they running out of resources to give us, and you know, you got Black people giving you a resource that can take you away from our clutch. All right, man, you gotta do something about that. And as my dad told me in the past, you know, he said as we build this new world, they got to protect theirs, and we should expect that at all times. We should expect that right there. Yes, and so, you know, man, just owning our own banks allows us, and like you said, having the knowledge on how to sustain that is what's most important, man. That's why education is so important first, because if you're not educated in any of the things that you get into, they'll slip through your hands eventually, man. If you don't know how to properly handle something or take care of it, eventually, man, it'll become useless to you because you don't know how to even maximize its function. You know what I mean? You might have a car, you could buy a Corvette, but if you're still putting regular gas in it, I don't think that's the best thing to do, you know. And if you get a house, you don't know how to clean it, I don't think that's the best thing to do, you know. And so you got to have these foundational principles before you get into anything, of having the knowledge of how to sustain it as well, man. And we've made some beautiful points. And even at this last point, financially, prioritizing our money, man, that's something right there. And that actually ties back into almost all of these things, man. The mental aspect, wanting to feel seen by this world because we don't feel seen from our inside. We haven't recognized our inside value, so we don't know how to portray that to the world. So we try to put value on the outside so that we can assess that a lot better. Is there anything that you all want to share with the people when it comes to prioritizing our money, or the things that influence us to prioritize our money in a bad way? Yes, sir, Brother Aiden.
What comes to my mind is the unnecessary spending that we do in the Black community. I think it was a report that I saw that we spend billions of dollars in entertainment. We spend billions of dollars in going clubbing and alcohol and weed and all of these things, but we only spend millions on books. So billions on all, billions on leisure, but millions when it comes to our entertainment. When it comes to our education. So in order for us to prioritize our money, we got to spend it a lot better than that we have been spending it. I know, especially for people like my age, we don't think about these things. We think about, oh, I'm young right now, so how about I just, act recklessly and spend recklessly because when I get older, I'll just get it together. But really, you are just going backwards, and it's just going to get harder for when you get older.
That's right.
So we gotta really invest in how we spend our money, and not just spend our money, but save and invest our money into things that will be beneficial, not just for us, but for our people.
That's right, man. And that's why being a solution-based thinker is so beneficial, because let's say you don't know the solution to your problem, right? You feeling less. You're feeling less because you don't know who you are. You don't know the value of yourself. And so through that lack of knowledge and not having anybody to give you direction on a solution, you look to the near. All right, what is the rappers doing? How they getting their attention? How they getting on? How they getting the fame? And because that's the first thing to hit our influences is rap music. I don't care who you really are. And as a parent, you might try as hard as you possibly think you're trying to keep that away from them, but eventually that music will seep in. It happened with me. My parents tried as hard as they could. You can't keep the unedited version of the 50 Cent album from coming across. As internet went on, you can't keep that from coming across me. So, as I think to be able to give our youth that mental understanding of what a real solution to that problem is, right? Because we can see, even if our children are being bullied in school, I think that we miss over explaining to them the whole psychological aspect behind that, and saying, that person really, whatever they don't have, it's for them to mentally compensate that and making you look less because they feel less, and just things like that. Could a simple conversation with a child can give them a better understanding and make them intelligent to the situation, and then telling them how they should solve that, because they know the problem at that point. But if we're not laying solutions down on our youth to be able, so that they can execute, to be able to solve these problems, then I think that we have a big problem on our hands. And so when it comes to that, is there anything on your mind that y'all would like to let the people know as we exit?
Yes, sir. What was the last one again?
So prioritizing our spending, and then I went into a point that that we sort of don't have the solutions behind the problem. And I used our appearance and how we try to make ourselves physically attractive and put things on our body of value, because nobody's telling us that the root problem is what's happening internally with us, right? Yeah. So we look for these solutions that give us no satisfaction. And so that's really the subject of right now.
Oh, yes, sir. Yeah. All that stems from financial literacy.
Come on. That's right.
The whole joint.
Man.
Man. So like, I can just use myself as an example. Mm-hmm. With me personally, I was into all those things.
That's right.
But like, I didn't know, like I've always been a great saver of money.
Yes, sir.
I didn't know it was more like a genetic thing. Like,
that's right.
That's how my dad is.
Man.
That's how my dad's dad is.
That's right.
That's how my dad's dad was. And how I know, because I went and asked him.
Wow.
That's how I knew.
Wow.
So some people is just different.
That's right.
But at the end of the day, when it comes to things like that, people are gonna do what they want to do. You're gonna go up against big time influencers and big time thinkers. So just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad said, you're gonna have to put the clean glass up next to the dirty glass. In other words, you're gonna have to put the more important thought up versus what they're currently thinking.
That's right.
And just let them just figure it out.
Come on.
I'm gonna close on this part. The Honorable Minister Farrakhan said this one time. He said, "You just teach God and let the people decide."
That's right.
Leave it at that.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Brother Aiden, is there anything you wanna put on top of the you wanna add another layer to this cake here?
I think Brother Mark, man, I think he hit it right on the nail, man. All praises due to Allah.
Thank y'all, brothers.
Yes, sir. So when it comes to that type of prioritization, man, it's really, like you said, education, man, education, the cultural aspect, how you physically see yourself, the mental, all of those tie into that financial aspect. Is really, man, it's just a wild thing to see. That how you spend your money all comes from the mentality of how you feel about yourself at the end of the day, right? Because if your goals are more important than how you look in the club that night, guess what? You're gonna go out and get the Jordans, and you go, whatever you had to do to fulfill your goal is not as important as it was now that you see you got this new prioritization on there. And we can see, man, a lot of our people, man, they got nice cars and terrible homes. I'll just be honest about it. A lot of our people got nice cars and terrible homes. And so that lets you know, man, that the mentality of being seen to them is very important. But actually their actual environment is not important to them at all. And so, you know, man, as you can see these psychological aspects in people, as we start to value ourselves more, as we start to value business more, we'll understand how to dress, how to operate, and what to spend our money on as well. And so for anybody that is still here, if you have made your way and pre-played this or played this after the live, we want to thank you just for joining us. So I want to encourage you to drop a like and a share, and for you to follow these brothers on their social media. Brother Aiden, do you want to go ahead first and tell them where they can find you?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. You can find me on Brother Aiden X, and that's on any platform: TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, and that's spelled brother, AIDAN, not EN, because that's what most people get mixed up. So
I just noticed that this time around too. I said, "Oh, Brother Aiden name spelled with an A. Let me make sure it's right on the flyer this time." You know.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. So y'all can find him on those platforms, all platforms under Brother Aiden X. Brother Mark, you want to go ahead and let the people know where they can find you?
Yes, sir. Mark Muhammad Jr. On pretty much all platforms. Brother Mark Muhammad Jr. on Facebook. Last name Muhammad.
Yes.
Not the MO.
That's right. That's right. And I thank you, brothers, man, for just to be able to hold this type of mental capacity for 2 hours, you know, to be able to dig into whatever God has put on your mind to put out to the people. I want to commend y'all and thank y'all for joining the next generation on this show, man, because we're trying to make this a big thing here. And the information that you all gave today is super valuable, and it's going to go out to a lot of people, God willing. And so we're going to go ahead and get it to this wrap-up statement. People, I appreciate you all sticking there with us. I hope that you all have a blessed rest of your day, and you can check back in with us this Saturday for another live. And, you know, I'm really thankful for anybody seeing interest in supporting this page right here. My name is Brother Anthony Muhammad. This is The Next Generation, and I thank you all for coming here and spending time with us today. Peace and blessings, family.